So when I decided to make the Frontier more of an off-road vehicle, I knew I wanted to do something with the bumpers. A few months ago, I highlighted putting the Schrock Works bumper on the back. This video is going to focus more on the Schrock Works bumper that I put in the front and some of the extras that I got to install with it. So why did I decide to go with Schrock Works? Well, I looked around several different kinds, and I knew that I needed to find something that I could just bring home and then have installed. Coastal Off-Road makes a bumper, and it looks really nice, but it involves some welding, so I'd have to find somebody who can weld. I'm pretty limited on my tools and my skills when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I knew, again, I wanted to find an attractive bumper, a rugged bumper, and one that was going to be fairly straightforward to install, and Schrock Works really fit the bill, especially when it came to the back end and the front end. I think it looks really sharp. One of the things that I chose was the low hoop that you can see here. And they have other options where it can come up and cover the headlights and more of the grille. I wanted more of a simple look. I wanted a hoop. I didn't really want a real tall one, but I wanted something with a smaller hoop, and I didn't really need the protection for the headlights. So this one really fit the bill. So when I was ready to order from Schrock Works, I ordered my rear bumper and I ordered my front bumper at the same time. And I also got the bumper fog lights, and these fog lights will connect with the OEM connectors that are already on the Nissan Frontier. And then I also got the Baja Designs 12 lamp bar light, which fits perfectly underneath the low hoop. Worked out really well. I also picked up the Harbor Freight Apex 12,000 pound winch. It's probably a little more overkill than I need, but it was priced right, and it's got a decent reputation. And I probably won't be using it a whole lot, but you know, it's peace of mind and a little bit of security to know that I've got a fairly decent winch that isn't costing me too much to own, but it'll get the job done when I need to use it. So like I mentioned earlier, I don't have the tools or the space and even really the skill to do really what needed to be done to get this bumper on correctly. So I took it down to Zeus Off-Road out of Burnsville, and they did an excellent job. I was really impressed with how meticulous they were with getting it done right. It looks great. I'm really happy with how it ended up, and their attention to detail was just excellent. I knew one thing that had to be done is they actually cut the bumper, and they have to remove the lower part of the bumper and the lower valance. Again, that's something that I couldn't do. I didn't have the tools for it, and I really wanted to make sure that when it was done right and looked really well. So the bumper really was just kind of a bolt-on thing, and it really went down with no issues. Again, the things they had to do were remove the lower bumper, remove the lower valance, and then they had to also trim up some of the inner wheel well, because obviously the approach angle is much better now, and I don't have all that plastic underneath in front of the wheels. So it gave me a lot more space to clear obstacles, but again, I had to trim off and have that inner liner inside the wheel well trimmed off. And they did a great job. I think it looks really good, clean, very factory looking. It doesn't look hack. And again, that's why I chose Zeus. They do a really good job of converting vehicles to off-road use. And they're a really good company. So I want to take a moment and quickly apologize for the condition of my engine bay. It's pretty dirty right now. It's still got some road spray and a little bit of mud on it from when we were up in Namaji about a week or so ago. I just got to get around to cleaning it, that's all. So the bumper went on just fine, but we did run into an issue when it came to installing the winch. The Apex winch by Harbor Freight is a pretty large winch, and the space I have from the mounting points of the Schrock Works bumper to my radiator is pretty small. And the winch is installed by clocking it or tipping it back towards the radiator, so the bottom end of the winch faces forward. And it's a pretty common thing to do, but in this case, when you tip it, the control module would hit the radiator, so there just wasn't that kind of room. So what they had to do is they had to remove the control module and relocate it. So what they did is we ran some more wires, or I should say we, Zeus, ran some more wires, and they installed it right here on top of the fuse box. So they've got extra cable, so if I need to access the fuse box, I can completely lift the whole thing and put it here, access the fuses if I need to do it. But I really like how they adapted it. They didn't block the radiator, so I don't have any cooling issues, and it's nice and clean up here on top of this box. They had to do quite a bit of grinding to make it fit, but I think they did a nice job. They still incorporated the on-off switch for the winch, so it's not always drawing power, and that's just down here. And then again, this is just a clean look, and that's what I really liked about it. And that's probably something I couldn't have done if I tried to do it myself. Again, I trust the pros, and Zeus, they're spot on. They do it right. So the Nissan Frontier has fog lights as an option, and this SV model did not have them. It was pre-wired for it, so it had the plugs, and they were kind of zip tied together and underneath the original bumper. Now, Schrock Works sent me some fog lights that connected easily to those plugs, and it was just a simple installation. Now, the issue was that the turnstock in the steering column does not have the fog light option. There's an online fix for that, and I'll show it to you here. So to fix the issue of not having the fog light option, I ordered a new stock from Z1. I may have been able to find a used one somewhere, but they had it in stock, and they had it here in like 24 hours or so. So it was just a simple order. To install it, it was even probably more simple. It's 3 Phillips head screws that drop down. Carefully separate the plastic, not to break any tabs. And then there are 2 squeeze tabs, and you pull off the old one, and you pop in the new one, put in the screws, tighten this up, and it's good to go. I think the whole process was probably about 5 minutes. So getting those bumper fog lights on was a simple, easy thing to do, from the installation part with the OEM plugs, and then obviously changing the turnstock. Not a difficult thing at all, and I think anybody can do it if you can turn a screwdriver. And that's probably you. I think you can do it. So when I decided to get the off-road bumper, I also knew I wanted to get some accessory lights as well as the fog lights. So I talked to the folks at Schrock Works, and we discussed a couple models, and I decided on the Baja Designs 12 lamp. I like it. It's a little expensive, but it's super bright. And the other side is it will work by itself, or it can work also with the fog lights in the bumper and the headlights on. One thing to note with the fog lights in the bumper, that they will not work if you have the brights on. So it's either or. You either have the brights on, or you can have the fog lights on. And that's pretty common with most OEM lights anyway. But with this Baja Designs light, it'll work by itself. It'll work in tandem with the fog lights and with the headlights on. Now, for the installation, it was a little problematic because when it came, it didn't come with a wiring harness. And we had to kind of halt everything. I had to come back a little bit later to the store to Zeus to have them install it, because we had to order the wiring harness. And that took a couple weeks to get. So that's something to keep in mind. So if you do order this light, the Baja Designs light, make sure that you know that it's coming with the harness, or you're going to have to order that separate. The other issue was on the top of the Schrock Works bumper, there's some drilled holes, and they're a certain distance. Well, that distance didn't line up with the width of the light. So Zeus had to drill a couple extra holes and then paint those holes so they don't rust. And then it bolted right in. So again, not the hardest installation, but there was a little bit of drilling involved. And I'm really happy with the light. And I'm looking forward to maybe hitting some trails in the dark. It should be fun. Well, all right, now that I've got the front bumper on and the Baja Designs light and the fog lights on, what do I think? I'm really happy with it. I think they turned out really great. The bumper was a pretty easy installation. There was some cutting involved, and I let the pros do it. But they did a great job, and I think it looks really good. The OEM fog lights mounted in the bumper really easy, and they plug and played with the OEM connectors that were originally on the truck. And then replacing that turnstock with the fog light option, that was a simple thing to do too. The Baja Designs light, that was a little more fickle with the spacing of the holes on the bumper to mount it, so we had to drill a little bit. But again, a pretty straightforward installation. The winch was a little challenging because it had to be tipped, and then we had to remount and relocate the control module for the winch. But again, Zeus did a great job locating it up near the back left corner of the engine bay. So it looks really good, it looks really clean, so I'm really happy with their work too. If you enjoyed the video, I hope you did, please give it a like, and subscribe would be great too. That helps me bring you the back roads and the cool products and things like that to you guys. I enjoy doing it. So until the next time, I will see you all down the road. Take it easy.